Hi, my friends. My name is Melissa with Homestead, and welcome to our channel. My husband and I are a household of two, and we are working on homesteading and self-sufficiency in our home, because this is our plan for our retirement. Instead of traveling, we really want to spend our time on a farm out in the country with our grandchildren, teaching them some of the ways of our own grandparents. So today I'm going to talk to you about making kombucha. I've had a couple of videos about kombucha, and today I'm going to show you how I actually make my kombucha and what it is. So kombucha is a fermented tea, which when I first started this, had no idea that that's what kombucha was. I bought it in the store and I really liked the way it tasted, but had no idea that it was just tea that was fermented. So today I'm going to show you how I make mine and the process that it goes through. And then I have another video coming up pretty soon on how I flavor my kombucha and the fermentation process after it actually becomes kombucha. So when we start our kombucha, we are going to start with some hot water. We'll talk about this first and let this brew for a few minutes while I'm talking to you about the mother. So to start, I'm going to grab didn't have everything ready. Grab a half a cup measuring cup here, because I'm getting ready to add half a cup of cane sugar to my hot water. Now this water I have a tea maker. It heats up, it's like a teapot that heats up water. I just heat up that teapot and fill this thing up about halfway. This is half a gallon. I do mine in half-gallon spurts. So spoon, and we'll mix that up really good. And then just gonna let that kind of sit for a minute while I get my tea. Now I try everything I can to use organic items in my household, but until I have used all that I have in my cabinet, I actually have just regular tea bags from the store. When I make tea for myself, I actually make organic tea, but I had a ton of these tea bags I had bought to make some sun tea. So I'm just using through what I have, and then after that, I'm actually gonna go with an organic tea. You can use either one. I have found some people feel like it's going to harm your SCOBY, but I have found that that has not been the case. Actually, my SCOBY has thrived with store-bought tea, so I've not really had an issue with it. So wipe this up here, my countertop, so we don't have a big mess. So I have family-sized tea bags here, so I'm just gonna put 2 family-sized tea bags in this half-gallon container. Now you can do this in a gallon if you would like. If you do it in a gallon, you will want to make sure that you actually use a cup of sugar. And I know what you're worried about. You're thinking, why would I put sugar in this? Because I don't want sugar in my kombucha or in my drinks, especially if you're trying to like wean yourself off soda pop. Well, the sugar is important in the fermentation process, and you have to have it in order to get that fermentation to occur. It's kind of like when you make wine, you have to have sugar in the wine so that the yeast eat the sugar, turning it into alcohol. It's the same process here. So it's real important that you have sugar, but at the end, there won't be any sugar. It's not gonna taste sugary at all. It doesn't taste sweet until you add like fruit or fruit juice or something to actually sweeten your kombucha. Actually tastes a little vinegary actually when you first get it out. So let's talk about my continuous kombucha container here. I just got this off Amazon, and it comes with a ring. Let me grab it real quick. It comes with a ring that just sits on top, and then you just cover it with a dish towel or something. You want the oxygen, you want oxygen to get to your kombucha so that the process works, so that the fermentation is starting to happen. Oxygen is important in fermentation, just know that. So I'm gonna show you what a SCOBY looks like. This is what you have to have, is a SCOBY. It's kind of like alien looking for sure. And a SCOBY is a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. And it's full of protein, full of fiber, and also it's a probiotic. So the great thing about kombucha is that you are actually, it's like having yogurt. It's like having the probiotic in yogurt. It's the same type of cultures that you get in your belly from kombucha. So I normally let this brew for a little bit. Now, one thing I will tell you is that your SCOBY is alive. It's kind of like yeast when they're alive, and you can't put anything that's scalding hot in there because it can kill your SCOBY. So you don't want that, obviously. You don't want to hurt your SCOBY because you want your SCOBY to thrive. And so normally what I do is let this brew for a little bit, then I add cold water to this, which we'll do in just a minute before I add this to my kombucha. Right now I already have about probably half a gallon to maybe a little less than half a gallon of actual kombucha that is still in this container. And I normally keep that in here and just continue to add more tea to it. This will brew for about in my kombucha container, it will brew for about 5 days before you actually will drain it off to start your primary fermentation. I have another video I just taped but haven't edited yet to actually provide for you guys so you guys know how I do that whole process and the whole process of using fruit or fruit juice, ginger, whatever it is, to actually flavor your kombucha. So you can typically have kombucha from start to finish in about 2 weeks. So if you start your kombucha, 5 to 7 days later, you put it in a primary fermentation with some fruit juice or fruit, hold off about another 5 to 7 days. You can have kombucha then. If you want it to be fizzy, kind of like pop, it might take you a few more days than that. It might be more like 14 to 16 days. But it's actually a very simple process, really easy process, not a lot to have to worry about. So also the other thing I would say is that most of the time people suggest, and we actually have a purifier, we have purified water as well. Use purified water when you actually are putting this in your container here. So if you have access to purified water, that's best. I didn't always use purified water, but I do now. The chlorine can actually harm your SCOBY. So that's why it's important to use some kind of either purified water or bottled water or something like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and take out my tea bags. I've got a nice, good, sweet brewed tea now. And then I'm going to just take my tea and I'm going to add it to my primary fermenter here. So now I'm going to let this sit for about 5 days, and it'll probably be ready by after the first of the week. This is the middle of the week right now. Be ready about the middle of next, let's see, it's the middle of the week, probably about the first of the week. Sometimes I've even let this go for 2 or 3 weeks. So if you can't get to it right away, you're not gonna hurt your SCOBY, and you're not gonna hurt your kombucha. The kombucha will be fine, it'll sit there for a long time. So I've never worried about letting it sit here. I started doing this about 8 months ago, and I've not killed my SCOBY yet. And not only that, but I have another video that actually shares how I grew a SCOBY to 7 layers and ended up dividing the SCOBY into 7 different SCOBYs. So you can do that as well. And we also are getting ready to do a video on how you can make pet snacks out of your SCOBY. So there's lots of things you can do with this. There's no waste in this at all. And it's just a great refreshing drink in the summer. One of the things I like to do with it is have it with my vitamins at breakfast time. I actually take it on the run when I'm leaving for work in the morning, and I drink my kombucha on the road to take my vitamins on my way to my appointments. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you don't mind, to help our channel grow. And we, again, are Gullion Homestead, and we are homesteading on a 1/4 acre lot in a neighborhood. Thanks for joining us. Bye.